What's up everybody, Afiq here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. How you guys doing? So here in Malaysia, our local company car Proton, to me personally felt like throughout its existence is going through phases. So the current phase, as you know, is Proton rebadging Geely product from China. And then when it was first launched in Malaysia back in the 80s, Proton was re-engineered Mitsubishi cars from Japan. Now, in between that two phases, there is that one short time where actually Proton built their own cars, such as this, the Proton Preve. So the Proton Preve, previously codenamed P321A, was built to compete in the C segment category. So cars like the Honda Civic, Kia Forte, as well as the Toyota Altis. So without further ado, let's check out this iconic sedan from Proton, and this is ABB Automotive. Okay, so here at the front of the Proton Preve, I think the Proton Preve is one of the more handsome vehicles that came out from Proton's portfolio. Personally, for me, I think when this car first launched in 2012, I think the design is really clean, very modern and very neat. Okay, definitely very sophisticated looking. The front end of this car to me looks very dynamic, very modern and very smooth. Okay. On top of the hood, I do love the two character lines. Okay, otherwise the hood will just look very simple. I do love the character line. It does make the car look rather sporty. The headlight, during back then, unfortunately, even though it has that LED light at the bottom, but it's not daytime running light. It is a position light. And then the car is equipped with a halogen projector, which is a nice touch. Because most of the car during that time is using multi-reflector. Okay, towards the bottom part of the car, I do love this two angular point. Okay, it does make the front of the car look very sharp, and then the Preve is also equipped with fog lights. Okay, in terms of the grille, in the middle of the grille, you do have this big Proton logo, and I recall correctly, back then they called this the Proton wing design. Okay, and I do love how this looks. It looks quite nice. Okay, and then the bottom part of the bumper, it is finished in this honeycomb design. And I think, yeah, overall the package, even today, I think the Preve is one of those Proton car, design-wise, it aged beautifully. So here under the hood of the Proton Preve, so the Proton Preve actually is one of the first Proton car to be equipped with a turbocharged engine. So back then, Proton launched this 1.6 CFE engine. So essentially it's a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder petrol engine. Okay, so in terms of horsepower and figure, this car makes 138 horsepower with 205 Nm of torque. Power is sent through the front wheels only via a CVT transmission. Now the CVT transmission, if I recall correctly, is the 7-speed Protronic. Okay, now the Proton Preve actually comes with two engine choices. So for the top spec like this car, it comes with this 1.6 liter turbo. But if the lower executive model, it came with a 1.6 liter IAFM engine. So that one is naturally aspirated, and the engine is sharing with its smaller brother, the Proton Persona. Okay, so in terms of figure, actually when you look at the figure of the 1.6 turbocharged engine, it is quite similar or comparative to a 2 liter naturally aspirated engine back then. Okay, so when this car first came out, in terms of its torque power, it is quite impressive, 205 Nm of torque. So it is above average. Okay, now the one thing I want to point out about Proton cars, even like this model and then to the one that's selling today, like the Persona and the Iris, it comes standard with the top stabilizer bar. So that emphasis that Proton is very much taking very much care in terms of the car's handling. So back then, as you know, Proton is associated with Lotus, and they advertise all their car, including this one, having Lotus ride and handling. So yeah, the Proton Preve engine, Proton's first ever turbocharged, homegrown turbocharged engine. Alright, so I've moved to the side of the Proton Preve. So like I mentioned before, this is one of Proton's full-on homegrown design. So they didn't copy anybody else for this design. And I gotta say, for the first car that they designed themselves, I think on a global standard, it looks quite, quite good, right? So going first to the wheels, okay? So the Proton Preve, when it was first launched, don't care if you get the top spec premium like this or the executive, it comes standard with the 16-inch single-tone alloy wheels, okay? The design, it is evergreen design. It's not the most interesting looking rim, but at the same time the rim is not that boring looking at all. Okay, looking at the character profile of the car. So this car, back then the codename the P321A, it ultimately evolved into the concept car Proton Preve, if you still remember. And I've got to say, for this car, I think the design is very, very clean. Around the wheel, I do see like the wheel arc is quite prominent. It does give the car a very muscular stance. The character line, okay, you see the shoulder character line here, which is connected to the door. I think the character line is quite prominent on this car. Aerodynamic wise also, this car actually is one of the more aerodynamic cars from Proton. They did quite extensive research regarding its what they call aerodynamic design. Okay, the door handle, nice chunky door handle, and the side mirror is electronically fold when you lock the car. Okay, when you lock the car, electronic folds. It does reminds me of some Mercedes-Benz model, so this is quite a nice luxurious touch. Towards the back of the car, I do see some element of BMW over here, especially with this third quarter seat pillar. Okay, this part does remind me of a BMW 3 Series. Okay, and then top there you do have the beasting antenna. The color that you see here is a brown color, if I recall. I do remembering seeing a lot of the silver one being used by the Malaysian Police Department. So every time I see a silver Preve, I will be like, oh, is that a cop or a normal person? Yeah, so overall, the side profile of the Proton Preve, personally for me, the proportion is very, very nice. You still get that 3-box design. Yeah, I think until today, I think the design is mature nicely and in no way offensive at all. Okay, so moving to the back of the Proton Preve, I think the back end of the Proton Preve looks quite smart. I do like the tail lamp that I have over here. It is this nice square shape, and then the tail lamp itself, the top part is LED, while the rest of it is incandescent bulb. So the LED bulb here is actually the night light. So when you turn on the headlight, this will illuminate, while the brake light is this light over here. And then the third brake light is mounted at the top of the windscreen, the back windscreen. Okay, so the Proton Preve, one of its trump card back then, that it offers a very big boot space, 508 liter, and then you can actually access the boot via the remote. Okay, so the boot space, as I mentioned, 508 liter, it is rather big. Even for today's standard, a lot of C segments sedan don't even reach 500 liters. Okay, if that space is not enough for you, you can split the back seat, fold down the back seat. It is split 60-40. So you want to carry long item like carpet or ironing board or whatever, okay, you can fold down, and then it creates a long loading bay. And I've got to say that the pass-through is also a nice square shape. Okay, so the rest of the car, you do have 2 rear parking sensors, the big, very nice 3D looking emblem in the middle, and then you have the turbo badge. So from my understanding, the Preve that you see here is a slightly updated Preve. So when the Preve first came out in 2012, instead of the word turbo here, it put CFE. Only in like 2014 like that, they updated the badging to turbo. And of course, this car is handled and tuned by Lotus, giving it that very nice handling characteristics. So the rest of the car, quite simple. The bumper, there's no diffuser or whatsoever. Like modern cars is obsessed with putting diffusers on the car. This time, back then, Proton was, to me, quite elegant. Okay, the design is very clean. Okay, you have a character line. The exhaust is hidden under there. Okay, only when you step back a bit, you can see the exhaust lah. So overall, the back end of the Preve, back then when it first came out, I think it was very modern and very clean. And yeah, even today's standard, it still looks rather handsome. Okay, so stepping inside the Proton Preve, actually it's not a bad place to be in. I'm genuinely quite impressed by this interior. First thing I want to highlight that despite looking rather dark and rather plasticky, the top part is soft touch material. I mean, this car cost what, 70,000, 80,000 ringgit back then. This is soft touch. And not only that, Even the armrest is soft touch, and the upper part of the door panel is also soft touch, which is giving that sort of like build quality feel to it. Okay, the steering wheel itself, I like the pattern. Okay, it's quite neat. The Proton logo in the middle is 3D looking, quite nice. You do have a pedal shifter, so this controls the 7-speed Protronic transmission. Okay, you also have cruise control, auto cruise, which is quite nice. Now the push start button over here is not like your modern push start button where you go in and just press the button. You actually have to insert the key fob into the slot. So this reminds me of certain BMW as well as Mini Cooper product where you have to insert the key fob first to push start the car. Okay, wiper, as with Proton, okay, even until today, the wiper is on the left and, sorry, the signal is on the left and the wiper is on the right. And I'm happy to report that it has automatic wipers and automatic headlight. So it does give a good value proposition, okay. In terms of the steering itself, it is quite nice to hold. I do like the pattern here, okay. And then in terms of adjustment, unfortunately, this car is only available with tilt adjustment, don't have telescopic. But it's okay. Even without the telescopic adjustment, I think the sitting position is quite nice. Okay, I don't feel very awkward, and it does feel like I'm sitting inside a sedan. Okay, looking at the center stack, I am loving the wood, fake wood trim. Okay, it does give the car a little bit of that sophisticated look. In the middle here, Proton, what they call Preve, is one of the first car that Proton equipped the navigation system built into the dashboard. But unfortunately, the owner told me that what they call the navigation cannot be updated. It is a built-in unit, and if you want to update the navigation, it is what the whole unit is required to take out, and Proton might charge you around 300 ringgit. So for modern navigation, just use your phone. Okay, the phone is even better. Alright, so looking at the center console, I gotta say the body is quite wide. The center armrest is quite wide as well. The shifter, okay, this controls the 7-speed Protronic. The location, I like it. It has this piano black finish around it, and in front of it is actually a compartment, okay, which you can close with this shutter. Okay, aircon, single zone automatic climate control. Okay, and then you do have a traditional handbrake, a pair of cup holders, and there's even a slot for your coins. Okay, now in terms of the seats, actually the seats is comfortable, and in terms of support, it is quite good. I have a lot of thigh support, not an issue as well. Bolstering, I would say, is not as aggressive as modern car, but it does make the going into and exiting the car quite easy. Okay, center armrest doubles as a compartment. Okay, there is a compartment underneath there, and the glove box in this car is quite big as well. The seats, unfortunately, for the Preve, don't care premium or executive, is only available with fabric, and the color is black color. But I don't mind. Fabric seat in Malaysia is actually a godsend, and the quality of the fabric is actually quite good, very high quality fabric. Even the metal that's been used here, it feels high quality, and the plastic is very thick. Okay, power up and down, automatic power up and down for the driver's seat only. The rest of the car is just the regular electric type. Okay, in front of me, nice clear analog display. On the left is your RPM, on the right is your kilometer. It does shows there 240 kilometer, which is quite ambitious, I would say. Yeah, but I think with the car stability, it can reach that fast without any limiters. Okay, in terms of safety, this is where Proton back then jumped forward compared to its competitors. So the Proton, especially this full spec Preve, comes with 6 airbags. Okay, you do have traction control, and then also electronic stability control. So that is like the full-on safety package from 2012 until 2015. Yeah, this is before autonomous emergency braking was normal. Okay, so overall, the cabin, I do have a grab handle on the driver's side. This is very rare, not many cars have this. And then unfortunately, the sun visor cannot extend, but I'm okay with it. So yeah, inside the Proton Preve, for something that's launched in 2012 back then, is actually quite impressive, and it's good to see what the local manufacturer can do in terms of its own development. Yeah, but fast forward today, I have to give credit to the owner of this car. He has kept the interior relatively very good condition. I would say immaculate. Yeah, I gotta say this is a very clean interior, and overall I think the interior of the Preve, I still think is quite nice by today's standard. Okay, so I've jumped from the front seat to the back seat of the Preve. So this front driver seat is adjusted to my driving position. I am around 165 cm height. So sitting behind myself as a passenger, actually the Preve doesn't disappoint. Okay, it's rather comfortable back here. I do feel like I'm sitting in a proper global standard C segment car. I don't feel very what you call claustrophobic or tight. Thanks in part to the headliner, it is this nice light color, so it doesn't make the cabin feel very small. In terms of legroom, good amount of legroom, as well as if I lay back, headroom is also quite good. My head is not touching the ceiling at all, any way or form. Okay, despite this car being a sedan. Okay, in terms of amenities, quite good as well. Dual map pocket. Okay, and then you do have a very big compartment. I would call this the door bin, same as the front as well. And it's huge. It's wide actually, and you can put a lot of things inside here. Okay, power window. Okay, normal power window, and you do have that fold down grab handle. And I do like this. It does give a premium feel to it. And then the seat itself are quite good. Okay, supportive. The back has a slightly reclined angle, so I don't feel too upright. And the headrest is nice. The headrest reminds me of Volvo actually. Like Volvo products, the headrest looks like this. And then you do have a center armrest, okay, with two cup holder. And I like that the center armrest stop at a certain angle. It doesn't just drop to the bottom, okay. Angle wise, yeah, I do feel like an executive back here. Of course, this is a car that came out in 2012. There's no rear aircon vents, unfortunately, but there is a slot here. Okay, and then you also have what do you call this? A slot there for your power outlet. So it doesn't have any USB-C or USB-B charging, but I can forgive it because this is an older car. But you can get the adapter and plug in there, and then you just plug in your phone, and I think it's a quite complete package back here. Okay. Yeah, overall the back of the Preve, I think sitting three what do you call across each other or dot wise, I think is also acceptable, because the Preve actually is slightly wider than most car, like in the C segment category, and then the floor is almost flat. So even if you are sitting in the middle seat, okay, you have a place to put your feet. Okay, not like there's no big transmission tunnel or whatsoever like that. In terms of build quality, the top part of this door is soft touch, and this one is also soft touch. There's some fabric here, and yeah, I would say the back seat of this car is comfortable for a C segment. And then parents also, if you're looking to fit in your child seat, this car is equipped with ISOFIX mount, so you can easily put in your baby's chair, not a problem at all. Okay, so I've spent quite a little bit of time behind the driver's seat of the Preve. So what is my first impression of this car? And I'm happy to report that it's quite pleasant lah. Okay, this is a pleasant car to drive, and stepping into this car, I am reminded how good old Proton car used to be under the Lotus design and handling. Upon stepping in, heading onto the highway, my first impression of this car is that this car has that very planted, solid feel on the road. It just feels like it's glued to the road. Okay, the what we call Lotus ride and handling is pretty much evident in this car, and it is shining brightly. Okay, to my surprise, that even though I'm driving at high speed, like 80 km/h, the wind noise inside here is fairly minimum. The cabin is actually well isolated. Okay, so you don't get a lot of noise from outside. Only when you start to like full throttle, you do get some noise from the CVT transmission. Okay, the whiny CVT transmission is always been this car's biggest issue lah. Okay, so the CVT itself, from my experience driving this car, because this CVT is the older type CVT, it's the punch type CVT, in which Proton is known for. So initial response from standing still, you do have a little bit of that delay, as with many punch CVT type, but the turbocharged engine, okay, the 1.6 CFE engine, once you surpass that initial delay response, the delay with the gearbox, it felt very responsive. The response is very nice. Yeah, the 1.6 turbocharged engine, the 205 Nm of torque, that peak torque, you can get it early on in this car at 2000 RPM, and I can feel it. The pull is quite addictive, and yeah, the car felt sporty. Okay, and the one thing I like is that under slightly higher throttle response, I mean when I press the throttle deeper, like when I'm accelerating really hard, I can hear the turbo sound. The whining turbo sound is very addictive, and I like it. Every time when I let go of the throttle, I can also hear a little bit of the whizzing sound coming from the turbo, and it's very nice. Okay, at a certain point, I felt like I was driving a Hilux or something, you know, something like a diesel turbo like that. So it felt really nice lah. Okay, and it does put a smile on my face. Okay, in terms of visibility, this car is not really that much of a problem. The view forward is good, side mirror is relatively a good size, and then behind me the headrest does not intrude into my rear view vision. Okay, even towards my left side also, not much issue in terms of visibility. The A pillar is relatively thin. Okay, there's not much of a blind spot. Okay, like I said, only I come to a standstill, and then when I want to start to move, I have that initial slight delay from that punch CVT, but once you get moving and then you press the throttle, the response is good. Okay, the steering feel on this car is another thing I would love to highlight, because this car came out in 2012. It's still using hydraulic power steering. So as you know, hydraulic power steering offers more feedback compared to EPS, and it's pretty much evident here. I love how this steering wheel feel, especially on the move. I can communicate with the front wheel very well compared to EPS. Of course, with hydraulic power steering, under parking situation, it is quite heavy compared to EPS, but I don't mind. It's not that heavy. Okay, but yeah, on the move, I do like how the steering wheel feel. So the Preve was supposed to be Proton's first ever, back then first ever global product, and personally for me, from behind the wheel, the character of the car, it feels sophisticated enough to to be called a global standard car. Of course, being a Proton, you have a lot of like small issues. Quality control is one of it. Okay, but on the road, this car just feels really nice on the road. Like, it feels planted. How to say, it inspires you to have good confidence. So I know Preve is a car that's already in the market for a while. So some of the major issue that I always see online with Preve is the what do you call that? The OCH, the oil cooling hose. Okay, so this one can leak. Okay, but Proton has rectified the issue, and I always seen this issue not only on the Preve, but its bigger sibling, the Izora, as well. The Izora is equipped with the same engine as this car, the CFE engine. In terms of safety, for something that came out 2012, the Preve was quite complete. It comes with 6 airbags, okay, stability, traction control, and if I'm not mistaken, this car was the first Proton to be equipped with the 5-star Australian NCAP. Okay, because this car was aimed to be a global car, so Proton did put a lot of effort in terms of its structure and rigidity. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first Proton to be equipped with the reinforced safety shell or something like that, where it used high tensile steel to build the chassis of the car, and it shows the car was able to achieve 5-star NCAP, the Australian NCAP. Yeah? So that is quite good lah, and then it shows that back then our local boys, okay, our Proton local boys is able to engineer something on the global scale. Okay, and to me back then when the car first came out, I was quite impressed with the Preve, and it signifies a sense of proudness I have for Proton, because something like this, we Malaysian can build it. Okay, so if you are looking for one of these second-hand, maybe as a second car, you know, family car, or just a car for you to play around in the weekend, I think it's a fun car to play around, especially with the Lotus ride and handling. If you can find like a immaculate condition like the one I'm driving here, no mileage, you're actually getting a lot of car. Like second hand for one of these is like around 20,000 plus. You're still getting full safety, 6 airbag. The handling of this car, did I mention that this car is independent suspension all around? Okay. Not only that, independent suspension, but the back is also using strut suspension, where the coil and the shock absorber is one unit. All around disc brake, okay, on 4 corners, all side ABS. You don't have any drum in the back. So all of this, independent suspension, okay, hydraulic power steering. What is that? 4-wheel disc brake. These are basically the basic recipe for a car that is fun to drive, and the Preve to me is a fun car to drive, given if you can forgive that lethargic response from the CVT. But like I said, once you are on the move, the Preve, no issue. Response pickup is quite good, and yeah, I'm genuinely happy with how this car turned out. Sad that they didn't bring in like a new version, but from my understanding, there is a facelift version of this car. They put in the black roof, you know, leather seat, and slightly bigger rims. If you can find that model also, is quite good. They relatively fixed some of the small issue with the earlier generation cars. Okay, so my experience behind the Preve has been quite positive, and kudos to this owner also for keeping his car quite stock. I enjoy my time behind the Preve, and for a sedan, this checks a lot of this. Okay, the boot is huge, 508 liters. So yeah, if you are able to keep up with the maintenance, I think this car is quite good lah. Okay.